Disney made such a big deal about all their special features and extras and how everything was made that I thought I'd check some of them out myself. And I came across this very interesting short video called Alone at the Table. And it talked about how Emma Watson had to fake interacting with all this CGI stuff for Be Our Guest. She was the only human, and she had to fake all of it.
It was the most boring scene I have ever had.
I actually feel for her. I do. That looks really boring, and it looks difficult. How do you make it look real when there's nothing there? How do you look excited, ecstatic, when you're really, really bored? I'm not saying I could do it. I would probably suck at it. But guess what? That was her job. She literally had one job. And that is the definition of acting. To act as if something is happening, or you are a certain person, or you feel a certain way, when it isn't, or you aren't, or you don't. Now compare that to this scene from Lord of the Rings. They're up on a freezing mountain, at least we think they are, and then in the Lord of the Rings extras, I learned that they were actually really hot that whole time.
The scene of the Fellowship and the Avalanche was very difficult to shoot. I actually didn't shoot much of that. That was directed by John Mahaffey. It was shot in a stage with this fake snow.
To taste, it was kind of salty or something. It was kind of like, almost like sawdust, salty sort of sawdust or something. It was horrible.
Be Our Guest was the big challenge of the movie.
Victor 57, go, take two.
Emma Watson is the only human being in that scene.
It was literally me sitting at an empty table for 7 days, just looking at nothing.
You had to keep saying to yourself, no, 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 I'm feeling very cold. I'm in the snow, despite the warmth of the bright lights.
They were really hot, and yet they had to act really cold and clutch their clothing around them, even though probably what they really wanted to do was rip all their clothing off. So when it comes to a movie, it doesn't really matter what the actors go through. Hopefully they're safe, they don't get injured, they're still alive at the end. But all that really matters is the final product, what we see on the screen. And so here's the question. When we see the Fellowship on the mountain, do we believe that they are cold? I don't know about you, but I definitely believe it. They look cold to me. Then we look at Emma Watson in Be Our Guest, and I ask myself the same question. Do I believe that she's entertained by this? Do I believe that she's actually interacting with something that's there? And the answer is unequivocally, I don't believe it at all. It looks like she is grasping at thin air, and it looks like she's bored.
When you do a film that's visually effects laden and you're dealing with CG characters, you often have to act to someone that might not even be there. If you're acting with a cave troll, for example, well, there is no cave troll.
Peter showed us things, CGI stuff, you know, which gives an idea of what we were fighting. Even though it was thin air, we knew what it would probably look like in the end. And once you get into the rhythm of that, that's fine, you know, you can sort of deal with it, and it becomes very natural.
And there was just a lot more that was invisible, and therefore a lot more make-believe involved in that, shooting that sequence.
And then when you see it all put together, it's fantastic because it all makes sense. You know, sometimes somebody's telling you to do something, it seems really weird, and it seems wrong, and it seems, but this is crazy. But you said, trust it, it's going to look good, and it did, you know.